Emotional Minutes. And I'm actually here on what they call the loneliest highway in America, Route 50 in Nevada. I was kind of driving along and I was thinking this would be a great opportunity to talk about the idea of loneliness. Loneliness is definitely a difficult experience, of course. And there's been a lot of research that's found that loneliness is actually connected with things like depression, anxiety, substance use disorders. But then it's also connected with physical health difficulties as well. Things like problems with the immune system, heart and cardiovascular problems, more frequent visits to doctor's offices, things like that. Oftentimes, researchers will distinguish between sort of two aspects of loneliness. One is just really not having people around, and then the other one is really actually experiencing a sense of loneliness. And both of those can occur at the same time, but then also sometimes we can experience loneliness even when there are people around. Loneliness, of course, is something that's very difficult, but there's a number of ways that you can cope with loneliness. The first is to really try to reconnect with people in your life, potentially people you once knew or don't really speak with anymore, to try to facilitate those social connections again. Sometimes there aren't really a lot of people that you might be able to contact, so you might actually rely on trying to form those new connections. And there's a couple ways that this can be done. One is to really try to engage in activities that might have a social component. So, for example, it's going on, maybe hikes, and meetup.com has a number of groups. Or maybe it's taking a class on cooking or a class on crafts, or some sort of activity that you might really enjoy where there might be other people present. Now, the thing with that is oftentimes being lonely can really make us sort of focus our attention on not really having people around and how much we really want that. But one of the ways to approach this is really to sort of try to get into those activities and into those social areas with the activities, really to do the activity itself for the sake of the activity, but then allowing the potential for meeting new people and starting new conversations in those places to sort of take hold. And another way to really cope with loneliness when you're experiencing being lonely is basically to try to engage in gratitude or gratitude expression. What this consists of is really, potentially once a week or a couple times a week, just logging on 4 or 5 things that you're grateful for in your life, whether that is connections with any people you know or you might have known, or whether that's just sort of activities or even something as simple as a nice day in terms of weather. But really what this can do is this can actually help focus our attention away from loneliness and focus our attention onto sort of more positive things that we do have in our lives, because loneliness will often make us feel like we don't have enough. Another example of gratitude expression is actually writing a gratitude letter to someone that you might feel really grateful for some impact they had on your life. It could have been a teacher many decades ago, or potentially somebody you might know now, even if you don't have a lot of contact with them. Another strategy is really just trying to engage in things that are really enjoyable or meaningful for you. Loneliness will have the tendency to make us focus our attention away from things that we might enjoy and to really fixate our attention on things we don't have in our lives or things that we lack in our lives. But some of those enjoyable activities can really make it so that we're experiencing much more, or focusing our attention much more on things that we do enjoy. And it also helps sort of boost our mood for things that can occur along with loneliness, things like depression. Hopefully that was helpful today in talking about loneliness and ways to cope with loneliness, because we can all get a little bit lonely from time to time, or even for extended periods of time. So, and again, I'm Dr. Matt B., and these are your Emotional Minutes, and we'll see you next time.